Hello, everyone. I am meeting with Dr. Dorsha James, also known as Dr. Dorsha. Did I pronounce your name correctly?
You did pronounce it correctly.
Oh,
You sure
good, good, good. I'm always
did.
scared. So hopping right in, are you located in Nashville currently?
I am in Nashville
Oh,
currently.
okay.
Mhm.
I'm moving there
Yeah.
in 2 years. I cannot wait.
Are you serious?
Yes,
Oh,
I
well,
love
welcome early.
Nashville.
Welcome
Yes,
early.
I'm
It's
ready.
it's
I'm ready.
definitely changed since
Yes.
since I moved here, since I moved back here. It's
Mhm.
a whole different world. It's a beautiful city.
Yes.
It really is. It's a beautiful city.
My good friend lives in Franklin, Tennessee. My
Okay.
childhood friend, we've been friends since I was like 6 years old.
Okay, so you'll have somebody here.
Oh, yes, I've been there plenty of times. I know my
Yeah,
way around
okay.
and
You know
everything.
your way
I'm ready.
around. Okay, well, cool.
I'm ready.
Yeah, I love it. I really do love it. It's I mean, we're getting all of the stuff, the restaurants and the
Hmm.
before the pandemic, we're getting venues to open and people are coming, like concerts, because they used to just
Yes,
bypass Nashville, but they don't bypass us anymore. But with the pandemic, everybody's canceled everything and nobody's
right.
doing, and then there's a lot of celebrity sightings here. I was eating one day out on a little patio and here comes Jill Scott walking past. It's
Ooh,
like
mm.
yeah, so it's cool.
Yeah, I was very upset because I missed the Delta party, Delta Christmas party that I come to
Yes.
every year, and I also missed the Q party, the Q.
Okay. My yeah, so the deal.
Oh,
My
yes.
my wife is a Delta.
Oh,
And
yay.
so I didn't start going to the parties until we got married. And
Uh-huh.
so I'm like, I have been missing out all
Hello.
these
And
years.
I live way in Minnesota. I fly there faithfully for those
Really?
two events, the Q summer party and the Delta Christmas
I'm
ball.
trying to tell you, I was like, man, I've been missing out. This thing is live,
Right.
like grown folks live.
Yes, professional
Mhm,
grown people. Like, yes, no
mhm.
drama, just
Just having a
elegant.
good time. Yep.
Yes, melanin
Mhm.
popping everywhere. It's like the bomb. I
Everywhere.
cannot wait to move. Like my son is 10th grade. I was like, ooh, 2 more years left. I remember counting. I was like, ooh, we got 4 years. Now we down
So,
to
so
two.
you're just waiting until he gets finished with school before you move?
Yes, I'm trying to wait till he graduates. I told him, I said,
Okay.
some kids come out to a new car, you will come out to either a U-Haul or a plane ticket. I'm ready to go. I'm so ready.
Like pack up the night before graduation.
Exactly. I was like, there will be no graduation party. We will be
Right.
moving during that
Right. I
time.
know that's right. Well, welcome. I'm excited for you.
Yes, thank you. So, where did you attend medical school?
I went to medical school at East Tennessee State University, but it's called the Quillen College of Medicine.
Oh, okay.
Um, it's kind of, a division of the university, but this past couple years they've merged the two together. So ETSU is where I graduated from.
Okay.
After I graduated from there, I did my residency at Vanderbilt.
Oh, okay.
I was the first African American female in the Department of Emergency Medicine, which I got there in 2005. So that's kind of a
Wow.
shame that I was the first one in 2005. So
Oh my
there's
goodness.
been there's been some after me, thankfully,
Hmm.
but I was the first one there, and then I worked for I guess it was 7 or 8 years at a hospital here in Nashville, and then I decided to do rural areas.
Yeah.
So I got licensed in 4 states, and then I ended up as medical director of a hospital in Fayetteville, Tennessee.
Yay.
And
Okay.
then after that, being a medical director was no joke. I mean, I went from, because it's shift work in the emergency room.
Hmm.
So as you work your shift, you go home. Now you're going to get killed while you're on your shift, but you go home. You're not on call or anything like that. Well, being a medical director, you're the boss over all the doctors
Right.
and the nurses. And so now it's like I'm working 24 hours a day. I'm hearing all these complaints. It's like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Right.
Take me back
Okay.
to my life. And so I ended up working in Kentucky,
Oh,
because I don't really like to work close to where I live for the same reason.
I'm familiar.
Yeah, I don't really like to work close to where I live. So I started working in Hopkinsville, which was about an hour away.
Okay.
So not too bad.
Okay. When did you know you wanted to be a doctor?
I knew in the 8th grade. I kind of went back and forth throughout high school, wanting to be an attorney or wanting to be a doctor. But in the 8th grade, I had an experience. My grandmother got super, super, super sick. And she was literally on her deathbed. The doctor said it was terminal. She had like 3 weeks to live, so that we should start getting her affairs in order. But I remember we were standing out in all of our family in the waiting room. This is back where you could have a whole bunch of family members in the waiting room, and we were just camping out there. And the doctor came out and he was so like nonchalant. Just matter of factly saying what's going on. He didn't have any compassion whatsoever. And I remember thinking like, this is my grandmother. This is the matriarch of the family.
Right.
And, so I said to myself, if I was a doctor, I would never do that to a patient's family.
Yeah.
And so that's what planted the seed of being a doctor, because there was nobody in my family who was a doctor before.
Oh, wow.
And so, so then, like I said, I went back and forth, not too back and forth during high school. And then I finally, because my grandmother made it, she lived 10 years after that.
Yeah.
So actually not 17 years after that. So I took care of her, when she got out the hospital and before she got back to normal. I took care of, taking her blood pressure and all that kind of stuff. So I got even more interested in medicine by doing that.
Wow. That is a really compelling story. Like that's when you know that
right.
Because
and I knew.
Yeah,
I knew. And when I got to college, I put a sticky note on my mirror and that said, "You're going to be a doctor." Like literally up on my mirror, because I wanted to remember that was my focus. I didn't want to get off track, which is very easy to do in college.
Yes.
Very easy to do in college. So,
and that was a visual affirmation as well. Like you spoke that into existence. So yeah,
definitely.
Absolutely. So your baby, my urgency MD.
Yes, that is my child. That is my child. Very expensive, time consuming. I think it's probably more childlike than I thought. I mean, it's, it wakes up in the morning requiring stuff, needs something all during the day, takes you away from things that you're doing. They need diapers, like
everything.
The equivalent of, they need a website, they need a web designer, they need a marketer, I did not know that it was going to be so challenging. I actually walked away from the emergency department. I walk away from a 6-figure salary and I only work 12 days a month. So, and I walked into something that I didn't know anything about. I mean, I knew about the telemedicine part and all that, but I didn't know the business side of it. And just how that was going to be so challenging. I'm sitting here thinking, girl, you work in the ER, you save lives, you can do this. Like this would be a piece of cake. This cakewalk. Like, come on. And I mean, I tell people like my residency was easier than this. I mean,
wow.
And I say that kind of tongue in cheek, but this is a completely different beast. I go from knowing what terminology and what I need to do and how I need to do it to a world that I don't know anything about. I mean, it's like just like how people walk into the medical world and we start using all this terminology and talking about these procedures. Well, that's how I felt on the other side. And a lot of people think that it's just simple to make that transition, and it really isn't. But yeah, it's my child, and it's something that I'm passionate about, which allowed me to walk away from the emergency department, which is also my passion. So it kind of was able to fuse my desire to help people. When people interview for medical school, all medical school students say, well, why do you want to go to medical school? Well, I want to help people. So to that access to healthcare, I chose emergency medicine because I didn't have to I didn't have to bill people. I didn't have to say, I can't see you because you can't pay me.
Right. Yeah.
So that's a reason why I chose emergency medicine. I wanted to be able to see all comers, anybody who walked through the doors. Mm-hmm. So I'm over here thinking about access to care and how can people get care. I'm in the emergency department seeing people come there for urgencies, not emergencies, and getting huge bills for them, but them not having any other avenue. I mean, that's the only place they could go without having to pay up front. And so then I'm introduced to the business side of telemedicine versus the doctor side of it. And that was a perfect marriage of the two.
Yeah.
Able to bring something affordable, convenient, needed, and to a population that's getting hammered because they don't have the resources and the money to afford it. And so that's how I got to this place, is because I wanted to marry those two things. It's proving, I mean, before COVID, it was really not a tough sale. I'm really good at, when I talk about what the services that we have, I'm pretty good at explaining it and getting people to, understand.
Sign on and understand it.
But the problem is, before COVID happened, I would say, hey, do you know about telemedicine? And most people said no. And then I had to take the time that I would take to sell the product to them. I had to explain it to them first.
Right.
And so usually in the same breath, you're not going to get somebody that they don't know anything about something to buy it by the time.
Right.
Yeah. So that was the difficulty. Well, then, COVID hit, and it was like, whoa, people know what telemedicine is right now.
Yes.
Because it's everywhere. And so I didn't have to explain it anymore. People knew what it was. And so it became an easier sale, because now they know what it is and they see how it can be used and they see how affordable it is. Right. And so, And so, and then they don't want to go into the ER and sit. All these people running in there with COVID, and they don't have a doctor. If they do, the doctor isn't doing telemedicine.
Or you got to wait 4 hours to get seen for your emergency.
For your ear infection, where it's the ear infection. Right. You've had them before, you need antibiotics, or, that actually, that fueled a lot of what I do.
That and you segue right into that next question too, because it was how has being in a pandemic affected my urgency MD? So it really catapulted it to the forefront.
It did. And so
we didn't want to be around other people, and what I mean? So
and also another avenue that opened was colleges. Because now a lot of their students are at home. Those who are on campus, the student health center had it for a while. And then when the student health center opened back up, they're overrun with patients and they can't really keep up. So we ended up, our first contract with the university is Tennessee State University. And so I'm really happy that it was an HBCU.
Yes. Yeah, half smile.
Yeah. I'm so happy that it was an HBCU, because number one, HBCUs tend to get short end of the stick sometimes. They don't get the newest technology when it's first offered. They normally get it afterwards. So I was really excited, and I am excited that we have this partnership, because it's going great. I mean, the students are loving it. It's doing really well. So whereas some businesses suffered during COVID, I was blessed to have been ahead of the 8 ball, ahead of the curve, and was in a field that just happened to flourish during COVID.
Yes. Absolutely. So when I was doing my research, I see that you're married to a judge.
Yeah.
How awesome are those conversations?
Very, very, very. I mean, it's so funny. She says this all the time. Like, if we're having a debate, because it's not arguments in our house, it's debate.
Absolutely.
And so she'll tell people all the time, I never lose. I was trained to win arguments. I'm like, whatever. And so both of us will say it's an order, because doctors give orders and judge gives orders. Like, I mean, it's hilarious. I mean, it's the most challenging thing outside of my urgency MD, but I absolutely love it. I love it. We have a great relationship. But yeah, those power struggles, I mean, we bump heads for sure, but it's so like we're so equally yoked that one of us will be like, okay, you're right, or okay, yeah, my bad, but yeah, we have some very educational debates and conversations. I mean,
when I was reading, I was like, oh my God, if I could just be a fly on that wall, because I know they have some good conversations. And especially being in the field that I'm in, so I know judges, and I know like the things that I've been in, so I know all this stuff, But I was like, but to have those intellectual debates or conversations,
right, intermixed with
happy reading the article.
Intermixed with the relationship part of it, intermixed with the family part of it. Yeah, it's a dynamic, and the thing is, she's like my best friend. So I mean, literally like a bestie. I mean, she's just like a best friend. So just like you are with your best friend, y'all don't really fall out,
Right.
If y'all get into an argument, like,
okay, like 10 minutes later, like, okay, so you want to go to what time we eating for lunch? Like
like literally earlier in the day, like we had this tiff, rift between us real quick. Then she was like, I'm hungry. Are you gonna make some lunch? I was like, yeah, what you want?
See, exactly. Because I'm like, girl, I don't care nothing about what you're talking about. That happened 10 minutes ago. Let's go.
Why are you in the past?
Right. It's time to move forward.
Right. So that's how we are. But yeah, and that's actually a really good thing to have. Someone that she always says, iron sharpens iron.
Yes.
And it's good to have someone to keep me on my toes, because just like my pastor would say, if you hang around with chickens, you'll never fly with eagles.
That's right.
And I don't want to be around a whole bunch of chickens now.
I want to soar, baby.
I want to soar. Like I just want to cruise, I want to go way high. So she has really, I thought I had it going on before I met her. I really did. I thought I had it going on. And then I meet her and she's
like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm a peon. Yeah, I'm a peon on the scale. I'm a peon. Good gracious. You should interview her next. You will be like,
okay.
Shocked. Like seriously, I'll tell her, like, for real. I'll tell
absolutely.
You're gonna, God, that girl is the bomb. Oh my gosh, she's the bomb. And I'm definitely not saying that because she's my wife. I promise.
So you said that you went back and forth when you were in the 8th grade for with being a doctor. Well, you knew in the 8th grade that you wanted to be a doctor, but before you were going back and forth in high school, you were going back and forth with either a doctor or a lawyer. So if you weren't a doctor today, would you be a lawyer, or what other avenue would you have gone?
I would be, and I'm thinking about going to law school.
Oh, girl, get it.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. At once I get my urgency MD kind of flowing, and I'm not, everything, doing everything and being everything for the company as a CEO. My plan was to go back to law school. That was my second love. It really was. It was my second love. Just every part of it, the reading, the debating, the arguing, the writing up stuff, like that's just, I mean, I absolutely love it.
Nice.
And so Rachel is like, go ahead, go for it.
Right.
She's like, go for it. You'll be great at it.
I know, that's right.
So I'm trying to make the, do I want to spend another, because you can do it in 3 years if you do it full time.
Right.
It normally takes like 3.5 to 4. So, I'm like, Dorsha, do you want to subject yourself to more, studying,
more lonely nights because you can't go out no more.
Right. I remember about it. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like in the library for 12 hours, leaving out, because I at ETSU, it was a really safe campus, very safe. So I was in Johnson City. There's nothing in Johnson City. I mean, I'm not sure how it is now, But we would leave, me and my girlfriend, we would leave. We had a study room in the basement that we would study in. Just leave all of our books, all of our stuff down there, go get in our car, go get something to eat, come back. We would literally
Right.
have 12-hour study days.
Exactly.
And so I'm sitting here thinking like, do you want to go back to doing that? but I'm thinking about it.
That's great. Because I know when I went and got my master's for 2 years, I didn't see people.
Right. And I'm
I was
like, I
like,
want to
okay,
see
I'm
people.
done with school.
Yeah.
And then I was like, nah, let me go get my doctorate. So then I did 1 semester of the doctorate. I was like, oh, hell no, this ain't for me. This is way too much administration. I like with the people. I don't want all this.
I never wanted to get my PhD.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was funny because you want to know the only reason I didn't want to get it?
Yeah.
I did not want to write a thesis.
Oh yeah, I feel you.
I did not want to write a thesis. I was like, I am not sitting writing 160 pages on nothing. Like,
but
I am not doing it.
For my undergrad was 120 pages by itself. That was my undergrad for my bachelor's.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
and so I was used to writing that, but when it came to the doctor, when I saw I was like, oh, wait, what?
Yeah, see, I don't even know if I could do it. Like, I don't even know if I could. And then I'm talking about going to law school, but they have briefs. Look, you hear me? They have briefs. They don't have. I mean, I guess they write a lot sometimes, but I may very well may.
Yeah, make that move.
Study for the LSAT. Now, taking the LSAT and the MCAT and all these tests, I don't know about all of that.
Is Tennessee a state where you can bypass you can just go straight and take the bar?
No, okay. It's not. No, Tennessee isn't one. I can't remember the states that are.
I know. I think Oklahoma is one.
Really? Well, maybe I'll.
Everybody's like, you should go to law school because like these statutes, all this.
Oh yeah,
and I was like, yeah, I don't feel like going to school. If I could just walk up and take the bar, like study for it, and then walk up and take it, I'll do that. And I think a long time ago, I looked it up. I know it was either Oklahoma or Ohio. It was I know for sure.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I was like, wait, I got to live there too? Nah.
Nah, I'll pass.
Right. This ain't nothing I can do online.
Right. No, and it's funny because I asked Rachel, I was like, are there online law schools? And would they look at you the same way? Because sometimes people get real bougie with what school you go to and all that kind of stuff. Like, they
paying for it for one.
Exactly. And like these bigger schools are the bomb. What I discovered going to East Tennessee State University, smaller school, definitely smaller school. I got one-on-one attention with my professors. Right. I got experiences that I never would have gotten at a big Ivy League medical school, president of my class, like all this stuff that I wouldn't have been able to do had I went to another university. And then once I took my test and all these standardized tests, I was killing it on the test. Mm-hmm. Then I get to Vanderbilt around all these Vanderbilt students, and I'm not knocking Vanderbilt because I'm a graduate of their residency. But I'm sitting here like, oh snap! I know more than them.
Exactly, because you had that one-on-one. You had you were open to a whole different environment. So you got the. So yes, I get it. Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So I was happy to go to a smaller school. Didn't bother me at all. So I've done all three. I've done the University of Memphis, had 20-some thousand students. And then I did ETSU. ETSU, the college itself has a lot of students, but the medical school only has a class of 60.
Oh, okay.
And then came back to Vanderbilt, so I got my Ivy League on as well. So it's a good combination of all three. And even now to this day, I was just elected to the alumni board of directors for ETSU.
Okay.
And I mean, I keep out there. They've asked me to be a keynote speaker at the end of this month at an event that they're having. So it's just like, what in the world? Little old me, like I never would have even thought about it. Like, good gracious. Yeah.
Well, this has been an amazing interview, and I'm so glad you took the time to meet with me because this is fun. Like I'm just chill,
I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I do. I really do.
Absolutely.
Thank you for taking the time.
I will be reaching out. You can send me or Jakia your wife's information, and we can interview her too. Get it going.
I will. Yeah, you're gonna be impressed.
All right. Well, thank you so much. You have yourself a fantabulous rest of your day and rest of your week.
You do. And I hope your weather up there is warm.
I mean, we're at 47 right now, so you know that's
Oh, so it's
springtime for us.
springtime.
You don't see nothing but shorts and tennis shoes right now.
I've been to Minnesota. I had this program where I could fly wherever I wanted to fly.
Oh yeah.
And I needed to get my global entry where I could go back and forth into the United States without having to go through the line, the immigration line. And there was only a few cities in the US that I could get it done at. And Minneapolis was one of them. So I'm like, I'm gonna go to Minneapolis. You know, like I've never been there before. It was the end of November. I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah. No.
I'm up there with this little cute little pea coat. I'm freezing. Like, girl, you going to Minnesota? Like, what are you thinking?
Did you get a chance to go to the Mall of America? Because everybody goes to the Mall of America.
I did, but I didn't like venture. I mean, I ventured as much as a person being solo could venture. I had dinner there, and I can't remember the name of the restaurant that I had dinner at. And I stayed at, I think the hotel I stayed at was fairly close. It was the Radisson.
Oh yeah, Radisson Blu.
Radisson Blu, yep, that's where I stayed.
Yep.
And so that's not far from there, is it?
No, it's connected to
it's connected. Yes, I went through the little tunnel. Yeah, it sure is.
So you were here recently because they just built that a few years ago.
No, I was there in like 2014.
Well, I mean,
it was brand.
I say a few years ago, but you know, not,
yeah. It was like brand new though.
Right.
It was brand new when I got there. Yeah, it was it was really nice. It was a really nice hotel. But yeah, so I was only there for the day I got in, had my interview the next day, and I jetted. Like,
oh, you was out. Yeah. I mean, you
was out. It was
November. You was brave.
I was like, never again am I not checking the weather report whenever I go anywhere. So, so yeah, I had one experience with Minnesota.
That was
there wasn't any snow. There wasn't any snow though. I can say that.
But that wind be cutting you.
That wind was no joke. And I caught public transportation trying to, you know,
you was tripping. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't take a taxi. I'm trying to enjoy the sights, you know, like take the no, never again. I bet you I took a taxi back to the airport.
Come in June or something like that.
Oh, never again. Well, it was good talking with you. Thank you again. And I'll get Rachel's information to you.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
thank you so much. Okay. Have a wonderful day.
Okay, you too. Bye.
Bye-bye.